All right, welcome to the Maley Way. I am your host, Jim Maley. Today, I am joined by two sisters who started something called the Sister Project. It started out as more of a brand, kind of went into a blog, and now it's into a podcast, which I have to say is kind of a big deal in our area, in the western suburbs. Back when I started out, when I was just doing the public speaking even, people around our area, all my wife's, her friends, even people I didn't know when they heard about it were like, you have to get the Sister Project. You have to kind of connect with them in some way. And it took us kind of a while. I remember them saying somebody saying don't you know them? They went to St. John of the Cross. And I knew the Massarella family. I knew Michelle was in my sister Kelly's grade. Lauren was a year older than me, and I was actually closest with Andrea Massarella. And by closest, I mean I probably said 20 words to her in 8 years. And that was actually probably the most I spoke to any girl, so she should feel pretty lucky for that.
Shy guy.
Yes, very. So, I'm lucky enough to have them on the podcast. Again, I think I'm going to get some major street cred by having the ladies from the Sister Project on. I was even thinking today, as I was thinking about this, I was like, if I was single, now don't get me wrong, I love my wife, but if I were single, this would be a great pickup line. If I went to a bar and was like, hey, you ever heard the Sister Project? And they'd say, yes, that we have. Well, I have those two girls coming on my podcast. I think I could definitely get some dates. So I'm happy to have Lauren Massarella and Michelle Anderson now on the podcast. Thank you.
I actually thought you were going to say which one you were going to do.
No. Well, maybe that too.
Your sister.
I knew you thought I was going to say that.
This is getting very interesting.
I was thinking, I like where this is
love
headed.
this. This is great. It's a dating show now.
Yes. So I just wanted to thank you for coming on. I've been listening to your stuff, and I want to get into it later about, I know it's catered more towards women, I would say. However, I have been listening and I have really enjoyed it, and I want to explain why a little later on. But before we get into all that, before we get into your backstory, I just wanted to kind of jump right into the mental health stuff. Not like the specifics, but just when I do this, it's almost, I say this all the time, it's like therapy for me in a way. It's like therapeutic to be talking about these issues. When I go and speak, it's therapy for me. I was kind of wondering, I know you both have done therapy in general.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Do you feel that at all? When you do your podcast, you feel better?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
For a bunch of different reasons.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, I think to kick things off, it's fun as sisters to have, this started during COVID, the podcast. So it was when we were separated, we couldn't hang out 24/7 like we typically do. So just the sistership aspect of it is very therapeutic. But we've shared a lot of our own struggles along the way with having a mom who was sick with dementia. Michelle was one of the primary caregivers. I've struggled with postpartum anxiety. And I think you have shared this a bunch too. The more you talk about it, and you find that people can relate or resonates with them, or they're secretly having the same struggles, and you're now starting, we're all human. None of us are just gliding through life without a problem, especially when it comes to mental health. I find it extraordinary. And we laugh a lot, which is very therapeutic.
Yeah.
We have some fun. It's not very serious all the time, but sometimes it is. But I think it's a great time. Yeah, it's very therapeutic.
Work through things together.
Totally.
I think was a big one for us. We would sit and we would kind of find ourselves hashing things out and coming out on the other side being like, God, I actually feel better.
Yeah. And you know what? I've had to see a therapist because of jobs I've had before that were so stressful, toxic environments. And the fact that I get to work in an environment that feels like therapy instead of having to see a therapist because of working with my sister is also really rewarding.
There's none of that.
In fact, I tell her all about my therapy sessions. I actually go to therapy for both of us. Sometimes I'll be like, Michelle, you won't even believe. And she's like, unload right now.
Give it
what
to
did
me.
you learn?
What new tools?
So whole sector, it's very therapeutic for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, and what I like about what you have done, even when I've heard you talk about mental health stuff, you kind of do what I try to do and bring a little bit of humor into it. Because what I always say is like it can't all be fear. Like if it's all, some of it has to be fear. I think people have to know like, hey, if you don't get things taken care of, this can happen.
Yep.
But I think the fact that you are able to like joke around like
100%.
about the stuff, like I think that really resonates with people.
Yeah.
Well, because we always say if we don't laugh,
Yeah,
we're
right.
just gonna cry
I
into
think
our
we said that on the
soup.
podcast.
Yeah, like it's what we say. I just forgot what I was going to say.
Well, that's what you said. If you don't laugh, we'll cry. And that's basically, I feel like, part of our formula as well. But I echo what you say. If there isn't, I think mental health ailments and illnesses can be so scary. And that's like with my postpartum anxiety, I was having the scary thoughts that a lot of women don't talk about. Should I share those?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So like something that I thought I heard about it. Well, no, I first started experiencing it. And then once I kind of was going down TikTok or talking to other people, this is, trigger warning because it's a little intense, but sometimes with postpartum women, you have this weird fear that you might stab your baby or have fear of hurting your baby, or what if that knife over there
Like
accidentally
intrusive thoughts,
the intrusive thoughts are intense, but the stabbing thing is like a thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why. My therapist has explained to me that our brains are so primitive that's the saber-tooth tiger basically. Like what if that was the saber-tooth tiger, and we don't know how to evaluate those or work with them. So terrifying because you think, is someone going to put me away if I share this information with somebody? I'm not a threat to myself or others, but why am I thinking those thoughts? So I think that there's, for me at least, and Michelle, the balance of humor and fear, especially when it comes to like really serious mental health things. The humor helps take away some of the fear actually and some of the
Totally.
pain. Like if you don't laugh a little, it's just, you're just fearful the entire time. And having that support system is also quite helpful.
Yeah, I feel like, we've joked a lot about, like, in a weird, funny way about, being spiraling and having to maybe go to a rest home.
Oh, yes.
To manage.
Rest home's legit though, you
But-
guys.
I
it's
know,
like-
but I'm thinking of the line that you used with it.
Yes,
My therapist, when our mom first got sick and I was telling him, I'm spiraling, like I'm not functioning like well at all. And he was like, do you need to go to a rest home? And he wasn't playing, he's like, do you need to, like, we can make a prescription and we can send you on your way.
Yeah.
And so now we kind of inject that into our own, dialogue with one another, that how bad is it? Like, do you need a rest home bad, or, like just to get a temperature check on our mental health at some point.
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
Now, I was going to get into this later, but now that we've been talking about it, have you had anyone, like even listening to that episode that you sent over, have you had anyone like basically say that you've somehow changed their life by that or saved their life by that? Because I feel like when I was listening to it, I was thinking like, wow, I really resonate with everything that she's saying right here. And, I've been able to, I think, overcome now, but if I was at a point earlier where I didn't know what was going on in my mind and I heard your episode, I'd be like, oh wow, like maybe that's what's going on with me. Have you had that going
Yes,
on at all?
absolutely. And I think that, yes, we have shared so openly and vulnerably about like pretty dark, deep, like to some people maybe embarrassing, shameful things that people have come to us on the back end of Instagram or through emails or amazing comments on the podcast, just saying like, thank you for sharing, because like you said, I feel heard. I feel seen. Like that is exactly what I was experiencing, and I know I'm not alone.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And both of you seem to have what I feel that I've always had my whole life is like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like it. I don't care what other people think of me.
Yeah.
Except when I was like in a deep state of
In your
depression,
head.
then I really cared. But like in general, like that's kind of been, I feel like you need to have that if you're gonna be talking about this
100%.
issue, like publicly. Like,
Yeah.
and it seems like you both have that.
She's kind of a rock star in that department. You're
Yeah.
really
Really?
good. I think, yes. I feel like you also, when you turned 40, you kind of told me about, like, you kind of reach a certain age where you just don't give what
Yeah.
people think about you, or if you what you do or say and someone's going to judge you, who cares? I feel like that plays a big role. And if what we're going to do is share about our personal experiences, you mentioned at the beginning of this conversation already that it helps other people. And if someone has an opinion or a judgment on us sharing our grief or what caregiving for someone with dementia is like, or burnout or postpartum, then fly kite. I mean, what are you, I mean, okay, must be nice not to have any problems.
Yeah, right. No, for sure. I've just noticed that about both of you, like how you deliver the different things. I can tell it seems like you kind of
it takes down, kind of aside from the mental health, but like when we would joke about the death of our mom, we very affectionately refer to our mom as our dead mom. And that, I think that way in which we have kind of led sharing, it takes the wall down between the person that's listening. It makes it, I've had people come up to me and say like, gosh, I've never heard anybody talk about that the way you do. And that really feels like it's refreshing.
Right.
I feel like that was the most common response we would get. And we've just always been, that's how we got into this business. We were we were sharers.
Yeah.
We
Storytellers.
See, I was not. I was like, that's what's funny. Like I never talked.
Which is amazing because you are the most like talking, vulnerable sharer male. I mean, we don't come across a lot like this.
Thank you.
But also I think what's really neat is how you resonated with the story that Michelle shared as a male. And I feel like we also, you're right, we do talk a lot about like the burnout that women do experience, but our message is for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, no matter where you are or what you are.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then, I just wanted to jump into the mental health. Now I just want to talk about like how you all started this, like the whole Sister Project. Not before the podcast, like how did
like the very beginning of it?
Yeah, the beginning of it. Like how did that come about?
I had been 10 years into my career. I feel like I'd been working for about 10 years. And in that time in my life, I was wildly unhappy with, I could feel that I was not where I was supposed to be. So that was just like sort of like the bubble that was forming inside me. And I had heard like almost, I describe it as like whispers. Like I kept hearing sister, like something with my sisters. I gathered my sisters. Lauren and I have ended up obviously evolving into this 2-man team here, but it was a creative outlet. It was we created a blog to share our experience and share. We joked in the beginning that our blog was like a junk drawer where we kind of just shared whatever.
Anything.
Yeah.
But what happened was while we launched the Sister Project, the blog that we had started 10 years ago, our mom had already been displaying some dementia symptoms and behaviors, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
Like we thought maybe she
had a nervous breakdown, or on drugs.
Abusing alcohol,
we didn't know.
taking pills. Like that would have been honestly.
Because you said it was after divorce.
Yes.
The divorce.
Yeah, so that would have been best case scenario, honestly, for
yeah.
real. But then it was like worst case scenario.
Yeah, and so like at the beginning of the launch of that journey, we also our mom got diagnosed with a rare form of dementia called FTD, and it felt strange and inauthentic to us to share our lives and not share that journey in some way. Right. So we decided to share it and write about it, and we accidentally created a community of people not realizing, I mean, I guess we did very quickly on, that everybody is touched by somebody that either has experienced dementia or Alzheimer's or some sort of cognitive thing. So it was like this just massive net had been cast. And then from there, we evolved a couple of times. And during COVID, Lauren and I were really yearning for more connection. Like we needed it, we wanted it. We had these amazing conversations with ourselves, and we were like, we knew that if we mic'd up and started recording, people would be into it.
Yeah.
And
It's like Field of Dreams.
Yeah, right. If we build it, I completely
But
understand that.
back to the dementia part, you asked about like the therapy, like is it therapeutic? It was so therapeutic. I found it to be oh God, I think it's what helped me get through the loss of my mom while she was still alive was writing about it. Because we learned later that when someone is diagnosed with the form of dementia or any sort of like severe cognitive decline or illness like our mom had, you do lose them twice. So she kind of like passed away in front of our very eyes. It's like ALS, but the opposite.
Yeah.
June's body was able, but her mind was not. So you kind of, for me, it just felt really good to write about what losing her was feeling like in real time. And for me, we get to go back and, if we choose to, kind of relive those words and see them and just remember where you were. I don't know. I feel like when big things happen in life, it's easy to forget what that time was like, or it was so long ago, but this blog helped us kind of create a space. It was like a journal.
It was. We didn't know it.
We didn't know it.
We didn't know that we needed it in that way.
Right.
Yeah, I think without the blog and without having the relationship that we had to go through that together with and without therapy, that I don't know how I would be dealing with it even to this day. It was like a really lovely trifecta of therapy.
It was a lovely trifecta of therapy, but it also was the beginning of
your breakdown?
Your mouth, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, even...
As we laugh about it.
I actually don't remember that time.
Well, it seems like, speaking of dead moms, like, my dad, like, it seems like, so her situation kind of helped create this. Same with, like, my mom when she died. And we were fortunate. I say this all the time, but we were fortunate that it happened like that.
Yeah, you shared that with us.
Yeah, obviously it sucks that you don't get to say goodbye, but you know, it's pretty nice for her that it was just
totally
boom,
like
that's
Jimmy,
it.
I'll tell you what, I'd rather that my mom died that way.
Yeah,
for
this
sure.
this was so up.
Yeah,
like
it was traumatizing.
It was trauma. It's like PTSD. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
What I was saying is that's kind of how this whole thing started. When she died, I gave the eulogy at her funeral, and basically the last part of the eulogy, I was thinking about it. I was like, should I do this? Should I not? I was like, whoops, sorry. But I was like, I'm gonna do it. So I basically said like how she helped me like get help for the first time, and how she shared her story with me, and then how she convinced me to share my story with other people.
Okay, I didn't realize that aspect.
Yeah, so that's why, and so like when I go and speak, I close with like the last part of my eulogy, and I basically say like the Maley Way is not about me, it's about like my mom. She was the one that started this. But now I'm hearing that that's kind of like the same thing, that you know, it's kind of, your mom kind of was the impetus to get this 100%. Going.
Well, through our travels and this journey that we've been on with the Sister Project, we've come across so many people who have never shared about their grief or their mental health moments or wellness when it comes to losing someone, especially when it comes to losing someone to dementia. Mm-hmm. So it was this opportunity that we've given ourselves has really helped other people as well, and within our community, talk about their grief. Like a lot of people close it up and pack it away,
bury it,
forever, you know? And I've had really wonderful, heart-wrenching, beautiful conversations with people who are like, I've never even talked about my dead mom, but since we're doing this, let's talk about it, you know, with another person. So I think we're humans, and part of the human experience is everyone. You cannot escape grief and loss. Like that's just a guaranteed part of everyone's experience here. And the more people that share about it, the more normalized it is.
Yeah. Well, and being comfortable talking about that too allows you then to also think back probably on all the great memories that you had, and talk about that as well, because you're comfortable talking about something that is a little bit uncomfortable to talk about.
It's funny you mentioned that, because sometimes I have to really go back in my file folder though to think of like the really happy, genuine times with my mom, because her illness took over so much of her time with us. Yeah.
Agreed.
All right, should we get into the? Don't worry, I'm.
Let her rip.
I've had breakdowns too. So, but I want to get into that, like, because I thought you talked about it really well, and explained a lot of things that really resonated with me, and I'm sure would resonate with a lot of people.
Sure.
So you want to kind of get into that?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's dive in.
So shoot, I would say 10 years ago. My kids were probably around 5. I was navigating being the lead caregiver for my mom. I mean, managing her life, making sure that she had the care that she needed, all the things. I was responsible for that. Those are, some the things that come with being the oldest.
Yeah.
And I was also working full time and commuting and coaching and being a daughter and a wife and a sister and a friend and not really
partner. You're doing it all.
Doing it all and not really being anything to myself. And over time, I had noticed. Well, actually, I didn't really notice. You really highlighted this for me. But I was spiraling. I was super reactive. I was lashing out. My kids would ask me. I'd come home from work after sitting in traffic for a long, an hour, and I was exhausted because I was burned out. And someone would ask me for dinner, and I would bite their head off because
I just ate dinner.
I was
Thank you. I
like,
bit your head off.
I have nothing left to give. And then I was dealing with the way I felt for how I reacted, and that was just like that was kind of a regular day for me. And that went on for quite some time. Lauren and I had some amazing moments together where I absolutely lost my mind right before her
and I was
eyes.
like, holy shit, what's happening?
And made her what?
But there are other things too. Like I, as a sister, was noticing your daily momentum.
Full speed.
Like it was,
Zero
there was no
slow.
pause. There was no like transitioning from one, get to this place, have a moment, sit down. It was like go, go, go. And I personally was worried about her driving because she was attached to her phone because she was managing a sick mom and caregivers and kids and work. And I was just really worried about her being present and what kind of dangers come from not being present, especially on the road, because you were in your car a lot. Actually, perfect.
I lived in the car, and thank you. And one day I decided that I was going to take my car and go take some of my own advice and go take a yoga class and just get my zen. So I went into Core Power Yoga, I did my thing, came outside, and I looked at the street where I had parked my car, and to my surprise, it wasn't there. So it had to have been stolen. So what do we do? What do we do when our car is stolen? We call the po-po.
Call the police. I'm not laughing. No,
we laugh so hard because it's insane, that poor police officer.
So he was probably like, what is
He's like, this poor woman.
He's like, let's get her to arrest him.
Yes.
So we're standing there. He's taking my information. I'm filling out the police report. We get to the part about the make and model of the vehicle, and I look across the street or at the corner, and I'm like,
so
holy shit, my car is right there. I drove my husband's car that day, and I was looking for my Honda Pilot. And in that moment, in that moment, I had a mental breakdown. Yeah. I absolutely lost it in this man's arms. Yeah. I mean, his badge looked like it had been slimed. Okay.
But what a good person for just accepting the hug and just.
Oh, it was
you cried in his arms.
It was a long
legit.
time. I cried in his arms.
Now, so this used to happen to me though. Like, was it because, like, sometimes I'd walk into a room, and like I just like. Thoughts would be going through my head.
How'd I get here?
And then, or like, I would be like, why am I in here? I thought I was going to get something.
100%.
Because thoughts were going through my head.
It was a total, like, mind, my mind was constantly racing, constantly cluttered, the opposite of a quiet, meditative moment. It was just on overdrive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I remember all the time I would drive somewhere and think to myself, did I even break?
Yeah.
Did
I would
that's
have that.
terrifying.
That's scary.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
very
frightening.
scary.
It's very scary.
I was like, what route did I take
like,
to
how
get
did I
here?
even get here?
Like, who did I drive? Who was in my car? You know what
terrifying.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was happening a lot. And that happened for a little bit longer after that initial breakdown. I feel like it went on for another year. Mm-hmm. And then I was heading to Lauren's house at 92 million miles an hour to record a podcast. And I walked in her door, and we described this was a regular entrance, I was like Kramer from Seinfeld.
Oh my God, you
Like
guys.
my backpack was open, my hair was like.
I mean, she would fly in. I'm like, where the f- did you come
I
from?
mean, I wouldn't like close her gate in the city.
Yeah, you know,
that
we
would
don't
piss
do
her
that.
off too.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I've really ever shared this with you. It's not that it pissed me off. I think I was getting annoyed with you because I didn't really yet. I was at this point what you're going into. I figured it out.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize during these moments that you were so frazzled that a simple act of just closing a gate, because that's what you do when you walk into someone's house, you close it and you move forward.
Unless you're losing it.
Unless you're losing it. I thought it was annoying at first, and then I was like, oh my God, she's these little things, these little balls that she's dropping.
Yep.
And again, it's just a stupid gate, but I couldn't imagine what other balls were you
Well,
dropping.
and they were dropping. Like, I felt like I was doing a million things and failing at all of them.
Yeah,
like,
right.
literally could not do anything right. I was screwing up at work. I was missing appointments. I was flying off the handle with my business partner when something would go south and reacting in these totally irrational ways.
Yeah.
And so that day that I walked into what I thought was a recording session, I put my bag down. She kind of greeted me like you always do, which I love. She like comes to, we're like two old women. She's like, come in. And she's like, hey. And I was kind of like, what's going on here? She's like,
the equipment wasn't up.
Nothing was set up. And she's
Yeah.
like, listen, we need to talk. We sat down.
Michelle
We
doesn't
sat on
like
our
to be
couch.
touched.
We sat on the couch. I'm getting better. And she was like, dude, you need to slow down. This is not going to end well.
Yeah.
And that was truly the bottom for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like someone recognizing.
and yes,
Yeah.
and that was the moment that I began to like heal. And I tell people now that I'm a reformed rusher.
Yeah.
And it took me quite some time to relearn how to function at a normal, like adrenal overdrive situation, just like, and also how to prioritize myself.
Right.
That was the moment that I started to say no.
Yeah.
That was the moment that I started to choose me. That was the moment that I started to tell my husband, you can't do
it
me
comes.
until I do me first. And I'm not talking about doing me. I'm just talking about doing
Like
things
maybe
for me.
pickleball
Yes,
or something.
right.
Yeah,
Yes.
like maybe
I
yoga.
think-
No, not talking about that.
You know,
but do you know what
that's
I'm
a
saying?
lot of doing if
It
you're
is.
doing
That's,
that
I'm not interested in doing me like that. I've got a lot on my plate. But do you understand?
Yes, yeah. Well, I thought the whole thing is just really cool because you're sharing that, and obviously I relate to that, but then also having someone recognize it and actually say something.
Yeah.
Because I think that's, I had that in my wife now, I had it in my dad, my mother, and when I go around and speak at different schools, like I always say, like, it's not for like where you were at. If you came in and saw me speak, you would have been like thinking about something else at that time.
Totally.
It's for like the person close to you.
Right.
Like it's for you people to recognize the signs and the symptoms where it
Amazing.
seemed like you kind of were able to see it.
You are that. I feel like you're that person. You see something and you say it, and
Oh, in all regards.
in all regards.
I'm a you see something, say something kind of gal, but also I teach yoga. I don't know if I've
Yeah.
been teaching for 15 years. So part of my life and career is to help people slow down, and not just physically, but also mentally. And I can tell and emotionally that you were spiraling, not just in your actions and in your car and speeding, but she was speeding up there as well. And when your brain can't function at a rate that's just more slow, and it's just going on repeat, it's just a breakdown of what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
It's just anything can happen
Yeah.
from there.
So, but it kind of gave you like a new purpose in a way, or your slogan. Like it gave you the or had you?
No.
You hadn't been saying
No,
that.
that
before.
was
it
literally
was born
she-
out of that.
Yeah, but it really didn't happen right away. Obviously, it took like 2 or 3 years. And then the way we write and the things that we talk about, Michelle, you came up with this idea. And then we talked a lot about caring less because I care too much about it sometimes.
Yeah.
something that happens or just whatever it might be. And Michelle's the kind of person that's like, just care less. Who gives a
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, you're right. Okay. So I'm telling her to slow down. She's telling me to care less. And we are both really good at stopping. Now at this point you are. I've always been kind of good at it. I call it plopping. And I just like,
I hate that
I know,
word.
but I like it. I like it. It's plop. You just lay down and you just stop what you're doing. You have to understand, with brain health being such an important part of our life and something that's on our mind just in general, we live a life now where brain health is something that we take into huge consideration, whether it's the food we ingest, the amount
Lifestyle
of alcohol,
we lead.
lifestyle choices, whatever, that doing nothing is so good for your brain. It literally gives your brain a minute to be device free, so you're not being infiltrated with information. You're not talking to someone, you're not even reading anything. But like in Shavasana, at the end of a yoga class, when you're just laying there doing nothing, it is such a gift to your brain to just do nothing, because your brain then begins to reminisce. It might problem solve. It might come up with creative ideas. And we have been so like
Conditioned.
conditioned
We've been
at this time.
conditioned
And now with
to
these
go
freaking
and do.
phones,
Yeah.
we just don't get a break. And so the do nothing came from a real brain health, that was part of being mindful of the brain health aspect of our messaging.
I need my wife to listen to
Where
that
is
part.
she?
So she's like a planner. She's got like all these different things
a mover
going
and a
on.
shaker.
Yes,
book
like,
clubs.
you know what I want to
She's
say to
Yeah.
her? Take a day off.
Yes.
Don't plan anything.
Right. Well, even yesterday, you almost came up. She had book club at her house, which I didn't even know about. It just kind
Fun
of
though. Book club
randomly-
is so fun.
Yeah. So I'm about to say, like, that I was doing this with you guys today.
Like, come on down.
No, but just I was about to talk about it, and I'm like, no, because then that's going to kind of ruin their whole thing, because that's all they're going to start talking about. Because they, like I said, all of my wife's friends were like, you have to get them on the podcast.
love
You
that.
have
Well,
to
thank
get them on
you
the
to
podcast.
them.
Yes.
Seriously.
Yeah, don't hijack their book club with the
No,
Sister
I know,
Project. Let them
but-
talk about that book.
No, but she always has stuff planned, and sometimes I'm just like, okay, can we just like, I don't know, just sit and just sit
Yes.
here.
You know what?
Don't do that.
And I don't think it's sustainable.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, she's a mom of 4. Like
Right.
there's no one busier on planet Earth
Right, yeah.
than somebody that's managing their life and then also has a bunch of kids. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that after, I watched people go and do my entire life. We talk about this. We never saw anybody take a pause.
No.
Our mom did not practice
But
self-care.
our dad read a lot. Our
Our
dad
dad-
did read books. Like,
Yeah,
it was
my
no.
dad
So
read all the
yeah,
time.
and so that was inspiring.
That was inspiring, but his motto for work, and I'm not dogging him. He taught me everything I know. I remember the first day I came into his office, and I worked beside him. I still do, and he said to me, "You ready to go?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, I got one speed, fast."
Oh my God, I love
Literally,
that.
but that has been ingrained,
Yeah.
and also like
Hustle
kind of
culture.
the expectations. Like
Yeah.
it was just like, and I'm not complaining about the things that I did for my mom and my family. Like it was my greatest joy to be able to do that, but there was no part of me at any point during that. Well, it was like stop.
Well, caregivers too. Caregivers get a lot. They are the recipients of so much pressure and responsibility. I don't know if you are familiar with Emma Willis, Bruce
No.
Willis's
Oh,
wife.
yeah, yes.
She, he has the same dementia that our mom had. And she is, I think, probably 20 years his junior.
Yeah.
I don't think I know for a fact, because I've watched plenty of her content and what she shares, she didn't think in a million years that she would wake up one day and be a caregiver.
Right.
And no one prepares caregivers for what happens when you become a caregiver. And you are literally like ushered out of the doctor's office and they're like, good luck, it's good, be well, call us if you need something later, but you're not going to call us because there's no cure,
Yeah.
so just be on your way.
Yeah.
And the emotional toll and the physical toll, you just weren't prepared. How can you have been?
I wasn't prepared, and it's true what they say. You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
And my cup was empty.
Yeah.
And I was on a fast path to just not a good spot.
Yeah,
I was
no.
in the spot.
Yeah. Well, I've heard you both say the word when I've been listening, reframing. So what I wanted to ask you, because I think about myself, like I'm almost happy that I had all like these struggles in the past, because it's allowed me to do this, something that I think actually can maybe have a little bit of an impact with. Do you ever feel like that?
Yes.
Like you feel like almost happy that it happened?
You know,
Not the thing with your mom, obviously, but
yes.
Yeah.
Because your story, what you've created, what we've created was born out of our struggle. It was born out of our experience. It was born out of being at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think that's where where we get to move people and share and inspire and teach people, is because we are living examples of people who have navigated really hard, dark places and weathered that storm, and will likely weather more storms in the future, but we know that we can weather them because we have gone to the darkest depths and come out on the other side.
And I think it's really cool that you're doing something together, together with a family member. I had the same experience with my dad. My dad was my assistant coach for 7 years, coaching high school basketball. And so you got to be with him every single day. But then he also was able to keep an eye on me because, he knew.
Totally.
Yeah, and so he was like I always say I have tells. Like I have tells if I'm going to start getting into that point.
Yep.
And so he was kind of able to keep an eye out, which is kind of cool.
We do the same thing for one another. You know, especially when I was
I can
postpartum, you've been like, you'll either, what I really love too is that Michelle will also notice when I'm doing really well. She'll be like, and I'll maybe bring it up. I'm like, I don't know, things feel really good, especially when I was deep in postpartum anxiety and things like that. And you would say like, you seem like you're really in a good spot right now. And there were moments when, and I'm in a much better spot now, but when I was in the thick of it, you would recognize that. But I wanted to touch on one more thing when you were asking about like kind of happy that it happened.
Yeah.
What I have found from the loss of a loved one, our mom, is that grief, losing our mom, and I'm curious if you can relate, is kind of like this up superpower, because now, like recently a friend of mine, his mom passed away, and I know not exactly, but I can relate to what he's going through, and I have a good idea of what to say to somebody, and you just can kind of meet another human on a different level. That if I had never lost a parent, and someone's like, oh, my mom died. I mean, I remember in the past before my mom died, I'd be like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Right.
Whole different
Yes.
kind of
100%.
like,
I mean, I wasn't
I
there.
hug strangers.
Totally. I mean, I wasn't there for a couple of friends who lost loved ones early on.
And I'm like,
because
I'm
emotionally, I didn't get it.
You didn't get it.
And
exactly. Now it's a superpower.
Now it's
the worst superpower to have. But you know, we talk a lot about human connection, and part of brain health and mental health is being involved and having a community, whether it's family, friends, whatever community it is, and human connection with other people, even if it's brought on by struggles of mental health or grief. They're powerful. You know, it could be through sports, it could be through all these different things, but when you're really meeting a human being on a level that is one of the hardest ones to meet someone on, it's just a different connection with another human.
For sure.
It's not like a regular connection.
Yeah, for sure. Like even at my school, I always say I'm like depression guy now. So like kids will come and talk to me.
Yes, they will.
And I always start off like, I'm like, listen, I am just a gym teacher. I'm just
You're
a gym
more than
teacher.
a gym teacher.
No, but
experience.
But like, I feel like what you're talking about, like connecting to the person, actually being able to understand it, goes far more than like somebody getting up there and showing a PowerPoint of 100%. Like this, and this.
Yeah, sad face versus. But like back in the day, like when we were going through things as kids, and especially with the climate that we're living in, there's just a lot going on. Kids need someone to go to that will understand. Maybe they don't understand how to say it here, but if they say it to you, you're going to understand, and maybe you can address it with their parents or talk to them.
Right.
We just didn't have outlets like that.
I want to ask you. I mean, I know
Sister Mary Beth. Hello. Can you imagine? Hey, can I have a gadget and a gadget? I ain't doing well.
Sister Josephine.
She loved Sister Josephine.
Sister Josephine did teach us how to meditate.
Yes.
Did she really?
Yes.
No way. That's
I
like.
laughed because I was in class with Brendan Greeley, our mutual friend, and a couple of other clowns at the
Yeah.
time. And I remember she was teaching us to meditate, and I didn't take it seriously. And just recently, my child was having a little bit of sleep anxiety, and we did the whole full body scan at night. But there was something I was going to say.
Sister
Oh my
Josephine,
God.
teacher talking to teachers. We were saying someone to go to. At least he's got kids
No,
get to go to him.
Mr.
Ship has
G.
sailed.
Mr.
No,
G,
guys,
Sister
keep it
McConnell.
Mrs. Delaney.
Kitchen
Mrs.
Mrs.
Delaney,
Zita,
listen.
Zita,
She-
Hi, Mrs. Delaney.
Yes.
Her and I were trying to make dinner plans.
I got it. I got
What
it.
is
I
it?
got it. Okay. Did you feel like you didn't have the words to describe how you felt when you were younger because nobody talked to us about it? Like,
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the word anxiety was a word
What was that
people
back then?
I didn't know that I had.
No.
Even
Just think about
generations
health-
older
yeah.
than us don't even want to
Well,
say
they don't.
anxiety.
They don't
Yeah.
know
Get it.
what it is.
Yep.
They don't know that.
Well, think about like health class. Like now I teach health. I am teaching this. We have this thing called Erica's Lighthouse. It was a girl who took her own life from New Trier who was 14 years old. And like they've created this whole curriculum. So it's actually pretty cool. We actually will talk about it. And you know, that we go through this whole thing. But like I look back on like my health class. I didn't.
Oh my God.
I never once did I hear of anything.
I'm just traumatized from the birth that they showed.
Oh my
No,
God.
Robert Crown.
I was
Hello.
like, holy cow! I
There
am
was-
definitely
but there
not
was-
doing that way.
There was one kid in my class that knew all of the answers. I won't say his name on camera, but he knew all of the answers to all the questions at Robert Crown. And I was like, what are you guys talking about at home?
A lot.
I know. And I was also
Clearly.
now looking back, I'm like, that's awesome that you knew how a baby was made and what a vagina is and a period. Thank you.
Did you happen to watch when I did it with Bridget McGuire?
Yeah,
we
some of
talked
it,
about
not all of it, because
so we
I
talked about
told them.
Robert Crown, and I basically talked about how my dad. I don't want to say it again, but my dad like went and rented these books to like talk to me about it
books.
beforehand, and I was like
So you-
running away from them,
Books,
like trying
yeah.
to get away.
I wonder if they were the same books our mom showed us, and the drawings. It's
Of the
just
fallopians.
it's not
We're
necessary.
going off
And by
track.
the way, ovaries. You know, another thing, real quick, just the ovaries don't look like what they show us in the photos. It's just
Well, maybe
we
Jimmy,
need to
maybe
get a
Jimmy can have
bit more.
that.
We can have the
Yeah,
ovaries, please.
Jimmy can update the curriculum.
An illustrator on board. All right, amazing. But wait, back to Erica's Lighthouse. You
Yes.
were saying that. So what's the curriculum of Erica's Lighthouse?
So they've gotten footage from like 8 different kids who've gone through like depression or some other mental illness, and they talk about it, and we then show the videos with like different discussion questions afterwards to talk about it. So
Amazing.
yeah, so just basically kind of trying to, and the good thing is like kids nowadays, when I go and speak, it's usually more for like the adults that are in the room, like people our age and above.
To recognize.
Yeah, because
things.
they're like, some are still like,
Tell
depression isn't real, or this isn't real.
All right.
Where, yeah, but
Sucks.
I'm gonna get mad about that later.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna care too much about that.
yeah, but then there's the younger people who at least they've started to have this. So I think they're in a better spot. But the problem is,
For sure.
I think they're also dealing with a whole lot more than we had to. So that makes
For
it.
sure.
Yeah.
That was another thing I was going to ask with what you are teaching and with Erica's Lighthouse and these different curriculums, like like cyberbullying and like
Yeah.
things that come into play with your experience that we didn't have as a problems. We had bullying. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly though, I'm so lucky to say that like St. John's was such a great experience that I
Yeah.
don't recall like really horrendous issues.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I did not have that issue. Well, I mean, but our grade was it was a kind
Yeah.
grade. So
Yeah.
I just feel like I wonder like what admins and teachers have to go through now that kids are like being harassed online.
Yeah.
Harassed and also an inundation of information. That's like
Who's with who,
Like
everyone's
where are you
out
going? What
together.
part? Who am I not invited to?
Oh, it's
what
too
college?
much.
It's just never
Yes.
ending. That
Yeah.
would cause anxiety
Oh,
and
for
depression.
sure, for sure. I think that's happening all over the place, and I think COVID didn't help with the
No.
mental health with
No.
Of course
the
not.
young people. But the bullying too. Like I've said this before, and it's kind of, I guess it may be controversial, but I'm like, I almost wish old school bullying came back. Like those guys who
Yeah,
could
like
at
the
least,
Biffs?
yeah,
like
who
from
could
the
back,
Big League, yeah,
who
Biff.
could back the Biff,
Yeah,
yes,
Biff.
who could back it up a little bit
Yeah.
versus
The little
now,
weasels
yeah,
behind
now-
the screens.
Yeah, now anybody's saying whatever they want.
I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
You remember like the Christmas story, that redhead little
Yeah, well, I'm thinking
Remember
of,
with the
I'm thinking of
raccoon
Back to
hat?
the Future.
Well,
You know?
but you know what I'm
Biff.
talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah,
And I think
little
someone
redhead.
threw a snowball at him, and that was
And
the
he
end.
cried
of
like
it.
a little. And then he ran home.
Yes.
But you're saying, like old school bullying.
Yeah,
Let's
you don't
bring
want
old
it to happen, but if there was
if there was
bullying,
an
I wish it was
option,
I'm
that.
Let's
with
do
you
it in
on
person.
this. I'm with you on
Bully
this.
in person.
Let's
Agree.
bring bullying back.
Let's bring bullying back. Make bullying. Nothing.
Stop. Please don't do it. I hate
won't.
it. It's not allowed.
No.
Oh my God.
I'm so
This is
glad
fun.
I have you, it is.
I keep her in line. Trust me. The shit she
Oh
says, I'm
my
like,
God.
canceled.
Yep,
I canceled.
I look
you.
at her and she's like, no.
Can't say
And I'm
that.
like, aye, Captain.
You know, even the email you sent, when you sent that email and then the one line, and
Yep.
I heard you say
A
the
pubic
thing,
hair away.
Oh, I
Yep.
was like, oh my God.
Well, you know, it's
This
a
is
short.
perfect.
You're gonna have a great time.
A short length of hair. It's close to a mental breakdown.
Yes.
Anything can happen. One more length of pubic hair, and you were.
You know what? People
going
don't know
to-
the context of the conversation. Jimmy and I, we were getting to know each other. We were sharing our experience, and I told him, in short, I was a pubic hair away
It's a
from going to
great
a rest home.
visualization of how
And
close
that
you were.
was
I
the
understood it
truth.
completely.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He's like, I've been there, done that. I've been pubic hair close.
If you say it one more time, I'm gonna punch you.
Okay.
How do you come back from that?
Now,
No one knows.
One more thing that I want to talk about two more things. One more, just motherhood.
Yeah.
Just because I know from watching my wife, like, I kind of have it easy.
Sorry, I'm crying
I have it easy in a way. Like, I think have you ever seen Family Guy?
Of course.
Yeah.
Have you seen the thing with the Stewie going, mommy, mommy,
Yes,
mommy,
yes,
mommy?
yes,
We're like,
yes.
that is our kids. And it is
on.
like that non-stop. They probably say dad about 10 times and her 500 times a
Yeah,
day.
that's a
and I
lot.
know she gets like what we call, and I wanted to ask you about this, mom rage. Do you ever get mom rage?
Jimmy, I'm going to tell you something. on camera. I have shared with Michelle, and I don't feel this anymore because, like I said, I was going through a lot postpartum and just really not understanding the shift that motherhood would take. And I shared with you, I've said, like, it's not that I would say the word regret, but no one prepared me for what motherhood really is. And I'm going to look in that camera and say, you think triple about if you want to have a kid or not, because it is not your life. When they say, oh, you have a baby, your life will never be the same. They're putting sparkles and flowers all around, and that's not how it is. Your
Yeah.
life is, the life you knew to a degree is over.
Yeah.
And then you have this immense responsibility. So yeah, mom rage. I've got one. I'm
Oh.
only having one because
I-
that's the
Yeah.
threshold
Well, I
that
totally
I got.
connect with
You
what
might get
you're
a little more
saying.
mom rage than
in
me.
my kids are older now. It definitely gets easier and harder in different ways.
Yeah.
But in my darkness, I used to say things like, "Say dad, say dad,
Oh my.
say dad." Do you know your
Or
dad?
go ask. Do you ever say, go ask your dad? Go ask your dad.
I
Go
know
ask your
dad.
dad.
Our
Yeah.
mom
Have you
would
met
say
your
that
dad?
to us.
I
Go
would
ask your
lose-
dad. Have
and
you met your
Yeah, have you met your dad? Do you know dad?
I got Katie a T-shirt that says, "Go ask your dad."
I
Just-
love
yeah.
it. Yes, I mean, like, the mom rage is real. Like, the rage, it's real. It's unavoidable. And I think that it just takes me back to where we need to, as mothers, prioritize ourselves.
Yes.
Our kids came into our lives.
Yeah.
Okay. And so our lives we need to still be the number one, or else
Totally.
we're going to be the worst ever, and no one wins in that department.
Right. Well, I think what happens too, like, just think about it. It gives you a whole more level of respect for your mom.
Totally.
But no offense to our moms, I think it's harder nowadays because there's so many more expectations on, like, your time. Like, we talk about travel sports, we talk about all these things.
bananas.
And then you feel like you got to keep up with
the
these other people.
Joneses.
Yeah, that's where we care less.
Yeah, right.
Literally,
yeah.
you cannot
But
keep
it's-
up with the Joneses because they're not even keeping up with themselves.
Right.
And they're stressing out because they're trying to have people keep up with them,
Yeah.
whoever the Joneses are. You know, our system is so fractured. You know, back in the day, they glorified this, like, stay-at-home mom thing, and now we're at a point where a lot of moms can't be stay-at-home moms. If you're lucky enough to be that, because most
Can't
homes
afford to live.
have two incomes coming in. We just have a system that's not great, so we have to take it upon ourselves to prioritize ourselves because the system's not doing that for us.
Yeah.
Therapy, exercise, time with friends. There's this thing going around right now to forfeit time with your girlfriend so that you could just be at home with your kids, and it's the most message
Yes.
I've ever heard, because that's not healthy. If you don't get a vent sesh, or even just what movie are you watching, go out, grab a bite to eat, or go for a walk for a half an hour with another adult, you're ostracizing yourself from some sort of normalcy and companionship from another woman or a guy friend, whatever it might be.
And I also just want to say to what you were saying about, Katie, you said that she's busy, she's kind of a doer, but good for her for prioritizing her book club with her lady friends.
Yeah,
that's coveted.
to me, that is legit.
That actually
No,
matters.
she is amazing at
book
she
they
has
read.
different clubs, different things all over the place. She
got a lot of
she
clubs.
prioritizes her friends.
Beautiful.
And sometimes I know I shouldn't, but I'm like, oh, come on, not another thing. But then I'm home with all 4 kids, and I realize she deserves it.
Right,
She,
she's in
Girl
50
needs
book
a
clubs.
break.
She's
Yeah, that's
got
right,
a
yeah.
smutty book club. She's got actually crime.
Yeah.
But I will, a tip that what we do at my house, I'm a big, say no Sundays. Like Sundays, if Anthony tries to plan something or work asks me to step up for yoga, it's oftentimes a no.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do anything. I want to be
Yeah.
at home and just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, the do nothing aspect.
Do
nothing.
We go on vacation every year with a couple of my friends that I graduated from Holy Cross and their families, and both other families, everyone's like, let's do this. So I've mandated a day of sitting.
Thank you.
A day of
Yes.
sitting
Love
where we do
that.
nothing.
The
A
do
day of
nothing,
sitting.
good
Yes.
Good job.
I love that mandate.
Oh, it's
Love
great.
it. It's
Just
beautiful.
A day of sitting and doing nothing.
Yes.
Let the kids do whatever they want.
You can
Like,
come travel with Ryan and I.
Yeah.
We are professionals.
We just talked though on our podcast today. Michelle, when she goes to the lake house with her in-laws, they all sit and read books in a quiet circle. It's kind of weird if you're not for me, because I'm I want in on this.
Yeah.
But if you were to roll up in there, there's all these people
That's
just
awesome.
snore.
That's
They are
awesome.
So
no, it's
boring.
beautiful. But that's your vacation. Is a rest.
Yes, no, it is a stress
Beautiful.
exiter.
Yes.
Literally, you roll up to the house and everything washes away, and we just keep it that way. And then as soon as we get in that car to head on back
Your
home,
anxiety kicks in.
All right, last thing I want to talk about. So I want to talk about men, for men.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think your podcast, I know it's catered towards women more, but I do think when I listen to you all and you're talking about stuff, I'm like, it kind of gives me a better idea of my wife in a way. Do you have other men,
Yes.
a lot of men listening?
we do. But I will say that is some of the best feedback from a male perspective that we have ever received.
A gentleman has been been okay, I can understand where maybe my wife's coming from based on what these women keep
Exactly.
freaking talking
Yes.
about.
Yes.
Yeah. But you also do it I love the swearing. I love that you will
get
get
hollered
a little
at.
vulgar every now and then.
I was
I
going
feel
to joke that
that's
Michelle showed her boobs last night. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Just looking to get some more male listeners.
It's a good
no,
one.
but I do think
Nice.
that aspect, saying stuff like that appeals to a male audience, and even has anybody ever said your voices are really good
Yes,
for
well,
it?
I smell-
Well,
I see
Yeah, you got
so
the
many
Demi
cigarettes.
Moore raspy
Yes.
Oh my God, Jimmy,
Oh
I
my
will date
God.
you. No, but I'm obsessed with Demi Moore, yes. And, I think that our voices do play a little role. We joke
They're
that
not. I don't think they're annoying.
No, they're not annoying, but I also, we have this thing we joke about that we have this wheezy laugh because we have wheezy laughs. People find either our Chicago accent nostalgic or they feel like home because they live on the West Coast now. But yeah, I'm glad that we appeal to some male listeners because our messaging is for everybody. Yeah, we talk about, some women issues because they need to be spoken about. But part of our podcast, we're catching up, we're just shooting. Then we pick a hot topic, and then we share what we're reading, what we're watching, what we're listening to.
And everybody can.
Yeah,
partake.
it's content
Right,
that
yeah.
would be accessible and interesting for maybe anybody.
Yeah.
So
and you
we
don't really bash men. like
No, we're
that
not
mu-
anti.
yeah.
No.
You know
I'm
what I
a
mean? Like
hardcore
I've heard,
feminist, but I
I've
don't
heard
hate men,
others.
man. I love them.
Seriously.
No, but I've heard
For
other
real.
stuff where that,
No,
like,
we
that's
don't
what
bash.
they
We don't
do.
bash
Yeah.
anybody. To be honest with you, we try hard to
and
not.
we say sometimes, like, when we record, we listen back on topics. We're like, were we okay? Was everything right? And I'm like, Lauren, we don't talk like that. Like, we
No,
don't.
yeah, because
smear people.
like yesterday
Yeah.
we weighed in on Ozempic, and basically Michelle does the sound first, and I'm like, were we cool? We weren't like we never want to make fun of anyone except for one person. I won't say their name right now. You know who it is. But we don't take people's lives as a joke, and we don't make fun of anyone, and we just try to. I mean, we have a good laugh.
Well,
I mean,
we have a great laugh, and we do go there sometimes. But
Sometimes.
wouldn't be a cozy conversation if
Yeah,
people
right.
were left butthurt about.
Yeah,
us
no, we don't want people
smearing
butthurt.
some
No,
poor
no,
soul
no,
that's
no,
not
no.
there to even defend themselves.
yeah, no.
Speaking of that, have you ever had your husbands on it?
Anthony came on once, and then we had him on again, and it's a sore subject for him because we didn't air it.
Oh,
Okay.
why
Because
didn't we?
it just wasn't
Wasn't a
it
great
just wasn't a great
conversation.
conversation. But what is fun now, Anthony and my husband is a filmmaker, and he is now doing our production, so he is basically
Behind the
Thatcher
camera,
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And sometimes if we forget, and he knows his films and actors like it's nobody's business. So if we're talking about someone, we forget an actor, he's in the back kind of. So
Yeah.
I think after a couple more episodes, he's going to join us even for like a portion of it for sure.
And we should get Ryan down on
Absolutely.
the pod because I think that the listeners.
yeah, because
would be
Katie
like,
was on your podcast.
Well, yeah, and here's what I'll say. So
Yeah.
after we did it, I was like, hey, I almost think like all couples should do this because
yes.
we don't talk to each other. We're constantly racing around.
So it's therapy basically.
Kind of
Yeah.
like we were actually sat down and talked to each other, and I was like,
connected.
"Oh my god, I never knew that. That's you know what I mean." I just thought it was.
Beautiful.
I thought it was like a really cool thing, and I'm gonna do it again with her because I think
Love
it'll be
it.
good.
Like a series, like
Yeah,
I
and
love
she's good.
that.
She
Jimmy
was
and
like a
Katie.
communicate. She
Yeah.
had like her own radio show, so she was kind of like.
get her.
I could
there.
see that though because she's got a wonderful
she's got a
personality.
great
And
energy.
she
Yeah.
she does have good energy.
Yeah. I don't know why she went after me, but I got
You're a
lucky.
wonderful
I
man.
can
Because
tell.
you're a wonderful human
You're
being.
solid. You're a catch.
You're a catch.
Yes.
I love it.
All right. Well, do you want to say like where people can find you?
Yeah,
and-
absolutely. On Instagram at the Sister Proj. Our website is Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. That is what we are also, that's our podcast, Cozy Conversations with the Sister Project. We are on, we just launched our video. We have elevated our production, so it's a really beautiful video format. People are streaming it on their television. You can do that on Spotify or on YouTube. And then may I plug Zanies? Since
Yeah,
this
when
is-
is,
yeah.
when is this airing?
Next Tuesday.
And plug the
So-
farmers
Oh, is that
market.
Bridget's thing?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
she's coming on with us.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
Bridget McGuire, who is your previous guest, she will be opening for our Zany show, which is on October 4th at 4 p.m. So like,
Which also happens to be our dead mom's birthday.
yep, happy birthday to dead
Right.
mom. Yep. R.I.P.
GTS.
GTS gone too soon. And so Zany's tickets are available now. It's the one in Rosemont and
And then lastly, at the farmers market, come see us. We have one more installation at
on
the farmers market on
October 2nd.
October 2nd.
Yeah, and we sell our candles there
If
because
you're
they're
listening,
cozy.
yeah, come say hi.
Yeah, and just, get in on the conversation. We love people engaging with us on our different streaming apps and whatnot. So, all of the
And
above.
yeah, and thanks
And thank
so
you.
much for this.
Thank you for having us, but I really need to say thank you for what you're doing with the younger generation because it is such a hard time at that point in life. Puberty's weird. Being a teenager or
Yeah.
youngin's
It is
weird,
weird.
especially if you don't have
And the
what
Reber
you
Center made it
think.
weirder. No
And
matter what
sometimes,
anybody
from what I
thinks.
understand, what did you just say? It's getting weirder.
the Reber Center made
It can't. It did get weirder. But I'm just really floored in a beautiful way by what you are doing and the help that you are offering kids for their mental health because it's not something that we talked about when we
No,
were young.
we did not.
You just
Raw dogged
You just
it.
raw dogged
Yeah.
it. And no one wants to raw dog mental
No one wants to
illness
raw dog depression and anxiety
and burnout. So
And
thank you
burnout.
so much for having
No,
us.
thank you seriously for coming out. This
Thank
was
you.
awesome.
This was awesome.
I wasn't
Pleasure.
even joking. Like this street cred
we do it
is
again?
going way up. Yeah, I would
Yes.
love to.
Street cred goes both ways. You're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
amazing things. When people find out that
Seriously.
we were on yours and you're coming on ours in November,
Yeah.
it's just a full circle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well,
Pumped to
thank
be
you.
here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to thank the ladies from the Sister Project for coming out. I think as I always say, by sharing your story, not only do you help others, but you end up helping yourself because that's the Maley Way.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank
That's
you.
great. Thank you.
Wow.
That was wonderful.